Time for some faith. It starts today. Starts today. Starts today. Starts today.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to Sound Collision Radio. I have my second guest here. This is Charlie Haley. He is known for the Charlie Haley Band.
Charlie Haley and the band?
And the band. That's
and
right.
The band, yes.
Awesome.
Distinction.
Awesome to have you here.
Thank you for having me. Yeah.
So I got a few questions.
On your Sound Collision Radio?
Sound Collision Radio.
Okay.
Yep. And he knows me from it's been years.
Parole.
From Parole, yeah. Yeah. We did some time together.
I'm still doing the time.
We're still doing time. Yeah, we're not free yet. They still got us in chains.
Yeah.
But I'm just gonna be asking some questions, get the audience to get to know you, know about some of the music you've done.
Yeah.
Hopefully we get some people inspired by what you have done. You know what I mean?
Sounds good. Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
So we'll start off with the first question, and that is, what inspired you to make music? And where do you find inspiration for your songs?
What inspired me to make music? Well, I started off, I was a huge fan of Michael Jackson and Kenny Rogers.
Michael Jackson and Kenny Rogers.
Yeah,
Really?
yeah.
That's a different mix.
My parents played albums all the time,
Okay.
and they used to have listening parties. And we'd have bunches of friends over, and they just listened to albums all night long. And that's kind of where I developed my appreciation for music. And I wore out the Kenny Rogers album. I wore it out. It was a gambler thing. I played it nonstop. They had to hide it from me. Yeah.
Kenny Rogers.
Mm-hmm.
That's a pretty diverse mix.
And then my third album,
Styles of music.
I got into
there.
Prince pretty heavy too. I was young.
Prince.
Yeah.
Okay.
I was younger, but it was the Thriller album and the Kenny Rogers. That's what those were my records.
So Kenny Rogers is probably the one that got you to want to play guitar.
No.
No?
To play guitar, I started out playing piano.
I did not know about the piano part here.
My first instrument was a saxophone. I was not very good at it. I did it for a year. I quit. Then I did piano for 5 or 6, 7 years. And then I saw the movie Crossroads with Ralph Macchio, who plays Karate Kid.
Yeah.
And I heard that guitar, and I fell in love with it. So I went and started taking lessons at Mr. G's Music in Sycamore, Illinois.
Okay.
And from there,
I know where that's at.
I still play piano, for writing purposes.
Yeah.
But my main instrument is obviously guitar.
Man. Well, that's electric, right? Mainly.
I do both.
You do both?
Yeah. But mainly for me, electric. I mean, acoustic is good for writing stuff.
What kind of guitar you own now? 'Cause if you play guitar, we know you got some good ones.
I have a Fender Custom Shop Stratocaster. I have a Gibson Les Paul. And then I have a bass guitar that I write bass lines on.
Okay.
A P-Bass Fender.
P-Bass Fender.
Yeah.
Man. So any other instruments besides that? So piano, you got guitar.
I'm very bad at drums.
Very bad at drums.
Mm-hmm.
Do you own a drum set? You do own a drum set?
I do own a drum set.
Is it digital or like an actual
drum set?
Actual drum set.
We use it for all of our live shows.
Really?
Yeah. Sorry.
Wow. And so, now I know you had the band going and stuff like that. So is that something that you're still pursuing, or is that like on hold for now? Any future?
After COVID, the whole music scene shut down for a good 2 years.
Yeah, yeah.
So my drummer moved to Idaho.
Wow.
Boise, Idaho, and my bass player sorry, moved to New York. What's that? A frog.
Question was very difficult.
Very good question. And then, so we stopped playing for a while.
Yeah.
So I started working on new music during that time.
Okay.
Driving to Chicago and back to the studio. There was nobody on the road. It was nice.
Oh, yeah.
The best part about COVID was the traffic. No traffic at all.
I think everybody liked that part. We didn't have to honk at anybody.
No, I was-
you're
There was 2 cars on the road, and that was one of them.
yeah. It was essential, you know what I mean?
Yeah, I was essentially going somewhere. But my guitar player and I have started rehearsing again about a year ago
Yeah.
because they have new music in the works.
Okay.
And shit. Sorry.
Oh, you're fine.
And yeah, so we're getting ready to start playing live again.
And then you're getting ready to?
Yeah.
Really? Do you have any like places in mind where you might
Uh,
pop up at it?
mostly Chicago, probably the Elbow Room.
Okay.
We played there half dozen times, maybe.
Yeah.
I've always wanted to play the Beat Kitchen. I've heard about that a lot. But yeah, that's about it
I remember
for now.
years ago when you played at what was it, House Cafe?
Yeah, we used
House
to
Cafe in DeKalb. Yeah. Now it's a new venue.
Yeah, I
Have,
forget. It's
have
called.
you thought
I
about
forget.
checking that place out?
Yeah, well, I'm going to try and play there again. I know the owner, kind of.
Yeah.
But we were selling the House Cafe out towards the end there, and we're getting lines around the side. It was, and then the COVID hit, and
Yeah. It
You
seemed
know?
like a lot of people were, making their way somewhere, and then COVID was just like that brick wall for a lot of things. I mean, businesses even too.
yeah, I think a lot of it was unnecessary, but
Yeah. Well, of
It
course.
happened.
Of course.
Yeah.
And that's obviously been coming out, being proven by now.
the great pandemic.
Yeah. Yeah. But I mean, the best part about it too, that there was obviously cons, but the pros about it is a lot of people that it basically eliminated a lot of competition.
It did, but it allowed a lot of guys like myself time away from playing live to start writing
Right,
again.
Right.
Because playing live takes up all your time.
Oh yeah, of course.
I mean,
You got rehearsals to do.
rehearsals, photo shoots, driving to a place to have them pay you just enough to make it there and back.
Yeah. Yep. That's the indie artist life.
Yeah. Do it 100 times in a year, and you're like, oh,
All right.
it's exciting, it's fun,
Yeah,
but
yeah.
you want to take all that experience and go home and write songs too.
Yeah. Oh, I'm sure there's a lot of inspiration in it, and especially fans. If fans come and talk to you, and they let you know what their favorite song was, especially if they start to memorize your lyrics and like repeat them back to you, where you said this in this song.
That is one of
it's-
the best feelings in the
it's
world. To
inspiring.
have somebody come to a show
Yeah.
and afterwards tell you what the song
Yep.
means to them.
Yep. Like, I could tell you right now, Independence Day was probably one of my favorites. Independence Day.
That's their most
Independence
successful song.
I played it for my fiance, and then
So what was your favorite line for that?
Independence Day.
Did I put you on the
Or
spot?
life was moving too fast.
That was our song
That was-
today.
Today, that was the other one.
Yeah.
So, because we went through some of your music, and I was showing her today when
the video, the actual
yeah.
music video. Yeah.
where the chick was, trapped in that room the entire time trying to
Yeah.
escape, and when she finally escaped, she ends up in that. What was it? You shot that at a lake. It was
Up near north of Chicago, there's a bunch of beaches and
Yeah.
boats. We shot it there. And the water, I think the water was 60 degrees that day. It was freezing. Ayanna Mitchell, she did a great job.
That's dedication.
Yeah.
Yeah, those. I think when you released today, I remember when you had the viewing party
You
for
came
the
to that.
video. Yeah, it
Yeah.
was a video viewing party that you did. Yeah, that was when I finally really started to see that the stuff that you were doing, because I had heard about it, in the past, but when I actually got to come to that and then watch your video, which that was 5 years ago that it got released, I believe. It was
It's-
5 or more.
It's been more than that. COVID started about 5 years ago. COVID started at the very beginning of 2020, I think. And the video was put out in 2018.
Was it 2018?
So 6 years,
6 years ago. Yeah.
I think. Don't quote me.
Yeah, so that's when I actually really started to like dig in and stuff like that. And
I appreciate it.
That's when I remember, performing at Cornfest,
Oh yeah,
House Cafe, and then you had that whole event. There was a Christian event you did.
Emerge.
Emerge. That's the
Emerge.
name of it, man. I could not remember. So if I go look through, because I keep a lot of stuff. So there was actually a questionnaire. I think whoever was in charge of the whole thing gave me this whole questionnaire thing, and it was like a bunch of sheets and stuff that I had to like go over to like MC it that night. I still have them.
Wait, what happened?
So
This has been a while now.
okay, so because of you, like I ended up emceeing for it, and then
Oh, for
that was-
Emerge.
yes, for Emerge,
Yeah,
and there was a
duh.
bunch of sheets and
Yeah.
stuff like that that I had to look at to like introduce you. Who was it? 7th point,
4th point.
4th point. Wow, see, look how bad it is. So 4th point,
And they're still playing. They're
Nehemiah.
Nehemiah Heckler.
Yes.
Yeah.
So yeah, I remember that. That was like one of the things that I talked about. Because you talked to me on Messenger, or once in a great blue moon commented on something, and then like my fiance was like, "Who is that? Who is that?" I'm like, "Oh, that's Charlie Haley," you know. Yeah. So I know you've had experience with like a lot of different things, and that's stuff that I know other artists want to know about because they haven't even experienced, half of that.
Well, as far as doing the shows, as far as the live shows and stuff,
Yeah.
I think it's the best starting out to do local as much as you can.
Local.
It's very cool to drive into Chicago and do a show.
Yeah.
It's a good experience, and if you're not looking to make money right away, it's fine.
Okay.
But building your local audience is going to create that core,
Yeah.
and then you spread from there. You'll save money doing that, and you'll get the experience you want because your first shows are going to be terrible.
Right.
You're not going to sound good.
Yeah.
Because you're feeling out the rooms. You're feeling every sound man is different. Every sound system is different.
Everyone's got different ears.
And then your band has to get used to playing together, and
Yeah.
that's like a 4-way or 5-way marriage. And eventually, you start to click, and when that click happens, and you all get the same vibe,
Yeah.
and then you find a sound man who will at least listen to you.
Right.
Most of them will. They're mostly pretty good. They're all grumpy.
Grumpy.
Yeah, they're all grumpy.
Well, because they probably have to deal with like
Yeah.
how many different people.
Yeah, they have to deal with all these people who think they're, Pearl Jam or
Yeah.
whoever.
Man, I should have worn your shirt.
Yeah.
I didn't think about it. I still have it.
Merchandise is good, but do the smallest batch possible starting out, because you'll have a bunch of stuff sitting that you can't sell. So you
Right.
want to start out with your smallest batch possible and promote. And everybody in the band has to be into it. Otherwise, there's no point, because it's like one guy pulling 4
Oh yeah. Yeah.
or 2 guys pulling the other 3. And you have to have all hands on deck.
Especially so like we know like especially getting support. If you're promoting on your social media, you have a ton of people on there that your partners don't have.
Yeah.
And they have a bunch of people that you don't have. So it becomes this like word of mouth that just progressively starts spreading basically.
And there's another thing too. If you know other local bands, play together, do shows together,
Yeah.
promote together, and do it once a month for 2 years in a row, and build that audience out.
Because then they'll collectively know both of you. And,
Yeah, because when you got 2 guys, rolling instead of 1, you move faster.
Yeah.
And there's room for everybody. That band succeeding is not going to keep you from succeeding.
No, absolutely not. And especially the friendship too.
Yeah.
So if you're helping each other out too, that's something that I got a friend in Arizona that we've done music together, and that's one of the things that we talk about too is supporting each other. Right now, there's so many people that want to compete against each other that they start like
It's
basically. I feel like they start canceling each other out.
it's the gatekeeping mindset.
Yeah, yeah.
As soon as these acts hear somebody that might sound better than them, that jealousy can creep in.
Yeah.
And you start. You don't. You don't. You don't. You don't want to do that.
Right.
Sorry.
Oh, you're good.
Dang.
So, when it comes to music, what's your creative process like? And how did so for like today, and Independence Day, how did you come up with that?
Well,
Like, what drove you to do it?
most songs kind of write themselves.
Yeah.
There's a process where you're playing on your guitar and you get a cool riff. Oh, I like that. And then you start putting lyrics over it. So for today, I just came up with this cool 2-note chord progression.
Yeah.
And it hit me. And then it felt like something that like there was urgency to it. So
Okay.
today, gotta get it done today.
Right.
And Independence Day was a full band thing. I wrote some lyrics, had a melody. Then at rehearsal, they started playing a certain lick in a certain tempo, and it just fell into place. And some songs write themselves in 3 minutes. It just depends on what you're doing. As far as the recording process, anyway, that's a different question.
That's a whole different
Yeah.
situation. Yeah, everybody's recording process is completely different. I know that, especially whether you have an in-home studio or if you go to another studio, then that's another cost.
If you're
It's not free to do music.
if you're a rapper, you should do your own stuff at home as much
Yeah.
as you can. Starting out.
I agree.
If you're a band, you can start out at home, but you have so many elements moving at the same time
Right.
that it's probably good to go into the studio after you're well prepared,
Right.
because you'll burn through money like nobody's business.
And if you have a band, especially like if you go into a studio and you're both not, and the rest of the band is not all on the same page.
Yeah.
In that moment, yeah, I could see, because what's the highest cost right now that you know of for like studio time?
That I pay or in general?
Oh yeah, what's the highest you've paid?
$95 an hour.
$95 an hour.
Yeah.
And I know there's more that cost even.
Yeah. Well, that's I paid, I think it's 85 or 95 at Gravity Studios in Chicago to have drums done.
Okay.
And it ended up being $400 to have drums done for one song.
$400 just to do the drums.
Mhm.
And that's not even the whole entire thing yet.
No. But you do want the sound system to record drums. Definitely matters.
Yeah.
You can do like ghost notes if you're a very good producer. You can kind of take a tough drum track and fix it up.
Yeah.
But you want to try and have the best bass to start with as possible.
Okay. And you can hear the difference if it's like digitized or if it's
Oh,
actual.
yeah.
And I think that makes a huge difference too, because you can tell. So like if you're listening to it in your car or something like people normally do on their way somewhere, you know what I mean?
Well, the human ear wants to hear analog.
Right.
It wants to hear the 70s and 80s analog sound.
Yeah.
And a lot of guys are going back to that, but recording to a digital, like Pro Tools or Logic or whatever.
Yeah.
And then mixing it through a analog amp
Easy.
or preamp, whatever they call it, to get that analog sound because it's so natural to your ears.
Yeah. And that probably attracts people to it immediately.
And when you hear a digital track, your ears can tell you, oh, this is kind of a little bit. For
This
me,
is
anyway,
digital.
there's an irritation to it.
Okay. That's good. I think people are gonna, especially other artists, are gonna probably think about that one.
Yeah, analog as much as possible. Use the new tools like Pro Tools for editing as much as you can. It saves time.
Yeah.
But as far as the actual sound quality, and so many songs sound exactly alike these days.
Yeah.
You want to stand out.
Oh yeah, there's especially what is that? No disrespect to anyone, but
No.
like what they call mumble rap,
Yeah.
the new wave stuff. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like that stuff right now. There's a ton of it, and they sound exactly the same.
Well, you can't tell which artist is which.
No.
And that happens a lot in country too.
What is that?
In pop music.
What do they call that? Auto tune. The auto tune
Yeah.
is what really anybody can replace you if you're doing auto tune.
And to be fair, every single recording artist in the world uses autotune a
Yeah.
little bit.
Just a little bit,
Just
Yeah.
a little bit.
but not drastically to the.
But
What
when you're
we hear
changing your
right now.
voice to sound like a robot or something,
Yeah.
then it's taken away from who you are as an artist. T-Pain obviously was kind of
Yeah.
one of the first ones to do that, and that was unique. It was new,
Exactly.
and now everyone does it, and it doesn't give you your unique sound as an artist.
It's not good.
No, because you want
'Cause-
to tell your story the way that you sound, and people will gravitate towards you instead of a copy of 10,000 other songs.
Yeah.
A carbon copy of the same tune, same lyrics, same melody, same everything.
Yeah, that's a tough pill to swallow for a lot of people, I'm sure.
Well, being yourself, well, I guess it's hard
Well,
for
I
some
mean,
people.
well, because they're so used to doing things a certain way. So a lot of people get, pretty hung up on how they do stuff. So when it comes time to trying to make that change, or someone tells them, "Hey, this way you've been doing it the entire time," is probably not the best thing. I mean,
That's a
it can be
realization
tough. Yeah,
for every artist that they need to come to is it's okay to try new things.
Yeah.
Try new sounds and directions, especially if you're new.
and it's true, because if doing it the way you've been doing it the entire time didn't work any other time, what makes you
Yeah.
think it's going to work later?
Flip the mattress over and try something different.
Yeah.
I mean-
right.
Every artist is unique, so why not just use that?
So, for your music, how would you describe your music? What is it about? And is it music that makes you feel passionate?
I make music that I want to listen to. Most songs, not all songs, but a lot of songs, the lyrical content isn't deep enough or isn't satisfying enough.
Yeah.
I still want the production value. I still want the cool beat and the cool guitar riff, but I would call it inspirational rock.
Okay.
Just because I think music should be more important than it is.
Yeah.
Because growing up, for you and me, hearing a new song, it changed. It was
Oh yeah.
it was everything.
Yeah.
It would change your whole summer
Definitely.
if you had the right tune. If an artist took the time to make a song like that, so people would go to record stores, CD shops to dig for this stuff, and there were mixtapes. That was huge.
Yeah. I remember those days.
And people were always looking for new music, and now people seem to just want background sound for them to scroll through TikTok.
Yeah, I don't get that. Yeah, music was totally different back then, because, I mean, you could be poor, have a Walkman, and just be full of life because of the music
feel rich.
you're listening to, and feel completely rich.
Yeah,
And I think that aspect is missing in a lot of lives these days.
and I think part of that is the artists not being unique to themselves.
Yeah.
They're trying to copy a sound instead of going to find their sound.
Yeah.
And you can do that by not listening to music at all. You can just get a guitar and spend the summer just figuring out who you are on the guitar or the piano or whatever.
Good advice. So collaboration. Who would you most like to collaborate with? How do you collaborate with other artists?
I don't do a lot of collaborations, but I would love to collaborate with somebody who's great at marketing.
Yeah, I think that's all of us.
And I would love to collaborate with somebody who is excellent at synth and keys.
Synth and keys.
Yeah. So if there's any kind of a synth player,
Yeah.
someone that's passionate about it,
Okay.
because I'm passionate about guitar, but I got this synth guitar thing in my head that I get all these songs into. And my producer in Chicago is that guy, but he's a producer.
Yeah.
So as far as a writing partner, or to even be in my band, that would be awesome
Yeah.
to find somebody who's really into that. Because synth adds something to a song. Most songs have synth, you don't even know it's there. Whether it's background strings or an underlying bass tone,
Yeah.
almost every song has some kind of synth, unless you're 90s alternative, which is just drone bass guitar, which
Right.
is awesome. I love that stuff.
No, yeah, I get it.
But yeah,
Interesting.
and someone who writes stories.
So like storytelling type of deal.
If your song's telling a story, it's a good song.
Yeah.
If it's not telling a story, if you write it
It's
down
just words
on a piece of paper and I can't understand what you're saying, it's not really a song. It can be a song-ish,
Yeah.
but having a story, even a simple story, adds so much to it.
Okay. Yeah, because there's a lot of music out there right now that has no storyline or anything. It seems like they fell in love with the beat, just wrote a bunch of words, and just threw something together.
Well, they copied a bunch of words,
Yeah.
changed the order,
Yeah.
and like, what's the song about? Can you tell me?
If you were to describe your song, tell me.
I mean,
Like if I've never heard your song before and you wanted to promote it, explain it to me.
how many songs do we need with the same, "Do Me Baby, Drive Me Crazy" lyrics?
Yeah.
It's constant.
Yep. I had this discussion recently with a guy at work. I'm like, I did, and I think I actually said it on the first podcast, but I didn't want to be that artist that kept saying, I'm number one, I'm top dog, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
You see that a lot. And it
Yeah.
seems like those words, you could say those words, a lot of them got taken from other artists that were the top dog. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? So they wanted to be just like them. So now they started calling themselves that. And then eventually you get into this whole beef situation. And
Yeah,
it
well, you
just-
don't want beef in music. I mean, I guess the rap game
it's
kinda-
repetitive.
kind of has that. It's kind of a classic, but
Yeah.
that got Biggie and Tupac killed.
Yeah.
So it
Yeah.
doesn't add anything to it
No.
at all.
It's things that have already been done. It's just,
Yeah, there's a million stories to be told. Tell yours.
Yeah.
And don't tell the story of the carbon copy, same old,
we don't need to, we need something jaw dropping.
I mean, and it can be as simple as you getting up in the morning and getting coffee and going for a drive to work. Turn that into a story.
Your ride there, what you saw, what you heard.
Yeah.
All of those things can make a song.
And
That's that's what made country such a big thing.
Yeah.
Country music.
Yeah.
There's a ton of stories in it.
Yeah.
Stuff like that. Like
Simple stuff.
a song about your truck and your dog and your farm and stuff like that. Your horses, and when you take your horse for a ride, there's a million things that they would write about in country music that just turned it into hits.
Yeah.
Because of the story.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And you can have a bad voice, but if you have a good song and a story,
Yeah.
people will overlook that.
Yeah. Real quick.
Yeah.
So, what accomplishments do you see yourself achieving in the next 5 to 10 years?
My goal is to do music full time for a living.
Okay.
That's my goal, to be able
Yeah.
to pay my mortgage with my music.
Right.
And to be able to influence society in a positive way, because society is tearing itself apart.
Oh,
Everyone's angry. Everyone's at each other's throats. And when we grew up, it wasn't like that.
no. Everyone was getting along.
Everyone
you could go
got along.
outside. You didn't
Black,
know
white,
somebody down the street.
Chinese. I had Mexican friends, black friends, white friends.
Yeah.
We're all like, and all of us who are at the age are looking at society going, how come you can't get along?
Yeah.
Why can't you? I mean,
It doesn't make sense. There's too much hate, not enough love out there.
yeah. And love is always the answer. I mean, Christ proved that. Every great teacher in history has proved that.
And that's the tough part too. there's a battle between. So I know there's people out there trying to spread love, of course,
Mhm.
but they've turned it into this kind of like a weapon, you know,
Yeah.
where now if you're spreading love, you're overly sensitive, especially like if you're a man, you're overly sensitive, you're not tough enough, um, and not to spread too much love or be too kind because everyone's going to take it for granted. So they actually just like, if you're trying to do something right, there's like, it seems like there's an army there trying to turn it around and say, don't do that because it's just going to hurt you.
Well, that's a two-edged sword.
Yeah.
I think Keanu Reeves said that if you live in a world where you have to be rude to people, then why is it worth living in that world? I mean, everyone deserves kindness at first, and if they're rude to you, okay, back up and try a different approach. But
Yeah.
everyone's going through something, and some of the grumpiest people that I've ever met just needed a little bit of kindness.
Yeah.
I mean, everyone's going through some hard stuff right now.
Yeah.
You're trying to pay rent's doubled 2 or 3 years. Food is quadrupled. So
Gas,
gas,
car prices,
car
housing
prices,
is up.
clothing.
Like buying a house, it's
Yeah.
almost impossible for people now.
So if somebody's having a bad day, don't take it personal.
Yeah.
Maybe just put on a song.
I think, like during COVID, that just like exacerbated stuff.
Well, yeah, because everybody went inside.
Yeah, and they didn't have contact with each other.
Nope.
And then when they came out, and a lot of like restaurants closed down, so people lost their jobs. And then there were few that were still at those jobs. So like if you were a server, you'd still get the same amount of people that could go out again. They'd fill up those places, but now they got less workers. So you'd see that person, they
Overworked.
showed up to work, they're trying their best, and they would get just treated horribly.
Yeah, treating servers bad is one of the worst signs of humanity.
Yeah.
Because they are there to serve you.
It's in the name.
It's in the name, and you are there to be a good customer.
Yeah.
It's also important to be a good customer. But you have an entire generation of people that grew up during COVID that don't know how to talk to anybody.
Yeah. I was talking to a friend at work today too. Like it's just coming to the realization of stuff. Like you could go back to like COVID to now, or even way before that, and it's realizing that a lot of the stuff has to do with, maybe not entirely, but a lot of it has to do with parenting. A lot of it has to do with parenting. So we were having this
Yeah.
discussion that, you know, like me, I didn't have my dad, but I had my mom, you know, and my mom didn't make the best decisions because no one does. You know what I mean? But like I explained to him, like, you know, your parents' decisions can ultimately, a lot of it can affect your future, you know,
Yeah.
because if there were things that were accepted in your home growing up and you got older and you continued that, you maybe progressed it, you know, you just don't know. So there's like that whole aspect in
Or things
society
you think
too.
are normal, but they're not.
Yeah. So like us. So growing up, times were different for us. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Times were different than they are now.
People
And I
would spank their
realized-
kids in public.
Yeah. People. Yeah, exactly.
Hey,
So we had stricter parents, obviously, at some point. You know, some people had stricter parents and stuff. So those kids actually grew up, had their own kids, and they remembered either they rebelled or they stuck with it. So the ones that rebelled, they raised their kids now. And that's the generation, some part of the generation we're facing today. They raised their kids and said, well, I'm going to give you everything my mother didn't give me,
Do
or
what
my
you
dad
want.
didn't give you. Do whatever. I'm not going to
Spoil
yell
you
at you.
rotten.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
then it was a vicious cycle that just progressively got worse.
But somehow back then we had more freedom.
Yeah. Yeah.
Our,
That's because we weren't trapped on.
our parents were stricter. But we had more freedom because you couldn't keep me in the house.
Yeah. Yeah.
I was always out doing something. People don't leave the house now
Yeah.
to get food.
I know. You got DoorDash and
Yeah.
all kinds of stuff.
I don't
man.
want to go out and eat. I want to eat, but I don't want to go out and get it.
There's people that'll take, it could be, I don't know, a 10-minute car ride. There's people that'll take a Lyft or an Uber rather than jump on a bicycle or walk. You know what I mean?
You see a whole lot more when you go for a walk than you do when you drive.
Exactly. Everything passes you by.
Yeah.
And then people are wondering why time feels like it's going so fast right now.
Because everybody's in a hurry to do nothing.
That's it. That's it. When you're walking, it takes time to walk. You know, so
it's also time you can write a song and be healthy. Imagine that.
right. So do you have any like hobbies or interests outside of music?
I love to work out. I did martial arts for like 20 years, but I don't, it's hard to keep up with that kind of thing.
Yeah.
I read a lot of books.
Yeah.
I'm into history and health and wellness, pretty heavy.
Okay.
You know, how to have a healthy body until you're 100.
Yeah.
I think most of us are sick because of what we eat and
Oh, definitely.
or don't eat.
Yeah.
So
there's a lot of stuff in our food. So if you're not watching that stuff carefully.
And there's a song right there: our water's poison, our food is poison, our air is poison, the ground's poison. And you just got to figure out how to navigate that until you can't.
How much would you say you work out?
Oh, 3 times a week.
3 times a week?
Yeah, I don't go to the gym right now. I work out at home.
Okay.
Mostly body weight stuff. It's hard to keep up with the meathead thing. I did that for a while.
Oh, yeah, man.
those guys are awesome. I respect them, but when you start getting to a certain size, you have to maintain it, and you have to be there 5 nights a week to maintain it.
Man,
to maintain that bulk, that size. It's yeah. Unless you have a home gym, which some people do.
And that's including supplements too.
Yeah, you're gonna spend $400 or $500 a month on supplements.
Wow,
so
$75 a month.
$400 or $500 a month.
4 or 5. Oof. Yeah, that's not
easy. That doesn't include food. Now you have to eat really good, and a lot of them guys, they'll take cocktails to force themselves to do something, and they end up getting. It's not always healthy.
It's better to just be regular, healthy.
Well, you want lean, strong muscle.
Yeah.
You
it's
want
in shape, just being around. In shape in general.
Yeah. But there are some pretty jacked guys that look pretty cool. That's awesome. Like, hey, all right, dude.
So when it comes to how music enthusiasts listen to your music, do you prefer they buy or stream?
I would say stream, because that creates an online presence more.
Yeah.
Obviously, you want to have physical merchandise you can sell for shows.
Right.
But with Spotify's artist app, I'm not sure if Apple has it or not, but it tells you where those streams come from.
Yes.
So if you market your music through Facebook or Instagram or TikTok, whatever, to say Milwaukee, you spend $1,000 marketing to Milwaukee. You get streams from Milwaukee. Let's go do a show in Milwaukee and sell some stuff. So, every artist that is successful markets the crap out of their music.
Yeah.
They buy ad time. They buy more ad time. They do 2 posts a day, 5 posts a week. They're constantly pushing the message because nobody wants to listen to music they haven't heard.
Well, yeah.
Or they're familiar with. So if you can put the ad in front of that person and they start hearing your sound and seeing your face, they'll trust you enough to play the song.
To give it a shot.
So during COVID, I spent a lot of time researching what makes an artist successful. Obviously, you have to have a good song.
Yeah.
But if you have an amazing song, you don't market it, it doesn't matter. No one's going to hear it. I mean, your mom might hear it.
Yeah.
But you have to spend the money to market.
And that's not even the only thing. So I know that's a tough thing for a lot of artists right now is getting that support. So a lot of them want to sell stuff immediately, like right off the bat.
Well, if
so
you can,
CDs, it's everything, right?
Yeah.
The problem is when you're looking at like today's economy, if they want to support you, but they can't spend the money, you know what I mean? Streams is one of the best ways.
Streams is free
because it's free for them.
Yeah.
Even if they get the ads on the apps or
Yeah.
whatever, you know what I mean? It's still free to them. All they have to do is listen. But every listen contributes to you getting paid by, you
And
know,
even if you're not
per
making the
streams.
big bucks, you're
Yeah.
still creating your online presence.
Exactly.
And if you definitely want to sell merchandise, I'm not sure about this, but it'd be awesome to figure out. I'm always thinking about if I sell a coffee mug, they'll use it. If I
Yeah.
sell a T-shirt, they'll use it.
Yeah.
I want to try and sell merchandise that people will use, starting out anyway,
Right.
because you get comfortable when you're in that T-shirt. I mean,
Exactly.
like, oh, that's my shirt. I wear that every time I go to so and so's house.
Yeah.
I wear that shirt because I like the way it feels. Instead of pushing hard on CDs that nobody's heard of you. And CDs are fine. That's fine.
Yeah, they're fine, but a lot of people are not
But I've got
using CDs.
I've
much
got
anymore.
500 CDs at home that
Yeah.
I didn't sell because I bought several thousand. I sold a bunch of them.
Yeah.
But now CDs are more of a novelty.
Yep.
Than anything. And they'll probably come back like albums. But
yeah,
right now, make a good song, market the song, drive your streams up, post on social media.
Yeah.
That's what you want to do.
Yeah, especially especially nowadays too. Especially if you have people that want to support you and stuff, that's probably the best direction. It's with social media, because then they can.
Well, it's
spread it.
also the best time in music ever for indie artists.
Yeah.
Because you get free media.
Yep.
I mean, there's a lot more competition, but most of those people are, like we talked about earlier, are making songs that sound like everybody else.
Right.
So if you're a unique artist and you have a unique sound, and you spend $5 a week, even a week, for a whole year, you're pushing a song, you get millions of people are going to at least see your logo,
right,
or your ad. And it's all about brand recognition.
See, and I was attempting to do the CD thing at one point too, and like right now I'm on the fence with it. Just for the simple fact, for me, it starts feeling like the CD route is like records. You know what I mean?
Well, do a small,
that's what it is.
Do a small
now.
batch for shows. If you can do 50 and under, and it's not going to cost you an arm or a leg,
yeah,
you can still sign something to sell it at a show.
Right.
That's awesome.
Right.
But a lot of times, the CD places will want you to do a thousand CD print.
Yeah, like CD Baby.
Yeah, or 500. I'm like, dude. I mean, down south, Georgia, Texas, a lot of people still use CDs. That's awesome. We live in Illinois,
Right.
or even then, you can't sell CDs down there. You can buy Tribe. Yes, you can spend a lot of time trying to sell CDs when you should just work on your social media and your streaming.
That's tough, man. It's definitely it's a tough business, but you got to stick with it. I know that one.
I would look at it as a challenge.
Yeah.
And
because it never stays the same.
Try and stay on the positive side. And
yeah.
No, life doesn't stay the same. I mean, with the birth of AI, and things are moving so fast.
So do you distribute on your own, or
I use CD Baby for streaming.
CD Baby?
They track all the streaming through, worldwide. You can copyright your songs on there.
Right.
You can link your publishing account. Every artist should have a publishing and writer account through ASCAP.
Okay.
Or BMI. Everyone should have two accounts: a writer account and a publishing account.
Okay.
So you own that song when it's played on radio or YouTube or wherever.
Right. Okay.
Yeah. It's essential. You must do it. Otherwise, you're missing out.
Royalties.
If your song pops off, you're not going to get paid for half the streams because
that's not good.
Because radio is still huge in South America, India, Asia. There's still a lot of places that are huge with radio, and then
they're not where we are right now.
or they'll have an online radio station.
Yeah.
You know, like what you're trying to do.
Yeah.
So at some point, if you register your stuff, you know, those songs will get tracked by BMI or ASCAP or CD Baby or who. I mean, there's all kinds of ways they track songs.
But the main thing is to definitely stick with it.
Stick with it.
Got to stick with it.
Keep going. Keep going.
It's not one of those things you just pick up, try it out, and then.
Well, yeah. I mean, if your goal is to be popular, don't do music.
Yeah.
If your goal is to make a bunch of money right up front, don't do music.
No, it's not going to happen. I mean, it's rare. It happens, but it's rare.
Yeah, but those people have $10 million behind them in marketing.
Yeah.
Or $5 million, whatever. But if you wake up every morning, every day, you're like, you have a little beat going on in your head.
Yeah.
Then you should probably do music.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
If you're always writing lyrics, if you're always writing poems, if you're always reading poetry or lyrics, you know, then you should probably do music.
Yeah.
And honestly, artists can't stop doing it.
It's just, even if they say they're going to quit music,
Yeah.
they never truly quit.
No.
Nobody truly quits music.
They'll tell you,
impossible.
I quit, and then you'll find them in Guitar Center. You're like, dude,
What are you doing here?
what are you doing here? Oh, I was just looking around.
That's why we have so many artists that retire and then
Yeah.
all of a sudden
Come
do
back.
a comeback album.
Mhm.
It's just like, wait a minute.
I thought you quit for the 5th time.
Right.
Oh yeah, I got a song idea. I wanted to. Wow, that's cool.
Rap is notorious for that. Somebody just drops off, they retire, and then all of a sudden it's like, guess who's back?
Yeah.
Wait, you were back 5 times ago.
Yeah. Hey,
You know, it just doesn't. Yeah, it's funny. But so home studio. Do you have like a special section off at home that you?
I do have a whole
mainly
section
work
kind of
in?
like this for my studio. It's mostly just for writing
Okay.
and doing. I use GarageBand for scratch tracks.
Yeah.
It's easy to use. If you have a Mac, get GarageBand and watch some YouTube videos and learn how to do it. It's easy. You can have, you know, scratch drum tracks, and then you'll get a little interface. Maybe $100 for a cheap one.
Yeah.
You can find used ones for cheaper, but use that to go into your Mac and just start writing down or recording ideas.
Yeah. Do you prefer like Apple products or
I do.
you do?
It's just easier to communicate for Pro Tools.
Yeah.
I'm used to it. I'm a Mac guy. Nothing against all you.
Hey, you leave my Galaxy alone, right?
All nothing against the people who can't keep up. You know.
I don't know. I think
care
it's
either way.
for some. You know, each thing is for some and not for some.
I mean,
you know?
the Androids
Everything
have
works
great
for-
cameras.
Yeah. I mean, iPhones had really good cameras too for a period of time and stuff like that. Though, like, there was all these awesome videos coming out, and you find out they're through iPhones, and I'm like,
Yeah.
but my problem is that so like I work through email and stuff. So like obviously, if another artist is in another state or something, it's kind of hard for them to come out and us to do all that traveling. We all got lives, family,
Yeah.
and stuff. So we'd work through emails and the MP3 situation. I had the iPhone I had was iPhone 6.
Oh no.
And I tried, I couldn't do anything. I'd be like, yeah, send me the MP3 or something like that, or send me the Wave. And then they'd send it. I'd download it, or try to download it off my email. And then I couldn't play it because people were like, oh, you got to go through, I think at that time you had to go through iTunes and do some stuff. And I'm like, I got to wait till I get home. Like I can't be on the fly and like on
Android, yeah.
on Samsung, you could do that no problem. It's super, super simple. So like there's the other thing, sometimes we'll be talking on social media like Facebook Messenger or something, and you could send an audio file through Messenger and they could just click play right there and then and be like, yeah, I like the sound of this.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Or they'll send a recording of their lyrics, and it's just voice messages, or I could just send that, just
through
a sound,
Android.
right through Android, like that fast, and we'd be just talking
Apple's
like we're
gotten
doing
better
right
at
now.
that. Apple's gotten better at that, but for a long time they made it impossible to speak.
Yeah, because I'd have friends.
Yeah.
Like I had a couple guys, they had iPhones. And I'm like, hey, I sent you, we're talking on Messenger. I'm like, here, I'll send it to you right now. I send it, and they're like, I can't play it.
Yeah.
I'm like, are you kidding me? What's your email?
Yeah.
Well, you'll have to wait till I get home. And I'm like, what? Wait a minute. What kind of phone you got? I got an Apple.
Yeah.
I'm
We got an
like,
iPhone.
yeah, you're gonna have to wait till you get home, man. So I'll hear from you in like 5 hours.
Yeah.
By that time, some of the ideas potentially died.
Yeah.
No one's in the mood at that moment because it gets that way.
Well, music is about striking when the iron's hot. You got an idea, you just roll with it.
Yeah.
But GarageBand is easy, so I like that.
Okay.
And most of the guys I record with use Pro Tools, which is compatible with Mac.
Okay.
But they've gotten to the point where you can buy programs that will, help them talk.
Yeah.
Some guys will mix and master only in non-Pro Tools software. I forget what it's called.
Right now,
Other editing softwares besides Pro Tools.
so I use a software called Mixcraft,
Mhm.
and I actually had to purchase that software just to make my music. Before that, I was starting with something Magix or something like that.
Mhm.
It was called, and that's what actually truly got me started on it. And then I found Mixcraft, and it just ended up is same thing, really, really easy to use. And then you have the software, you know what I mean? You paid for it. So it comes with a lot of audio files, you name it, all kinds of stuff that you could do to make and create your own music, even beats.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Making music is easier now than it's ever been. With all the beats, and you get yourself a little keyboard, you can do all kinds of MIDI stuff.
Like something like that. There you go.
Yeah.
It's not the same what it used to be.
So there's no excuse, because we used to have to mail stuff and
wait for a response, like
Mhm.
maybe 2 weeks, 3 weeks, a month.
Mhm.
Nobody would hear your music unless you were doing live
Mhm.
or you were out there selling a recorded CD.
a CD. or a mixtape.
Go to Walmart, get the tower,
Yeah.
get some jewels. We used to call the cases.
Burn CDs if your CD burner worked.
Yeah. So it has gotten easier, but the problem with it getting easier is that, and this is like a conversation I've had with many people, it's that it's really saturated right now.
It is, but that shouldn't stop you.
No, definitely not.
Because most people try it and quit because they're not actually.
Yep.
I don't want to say this to the wrong person, but most people shouldn't be doing music.
They're part of the people that are saturating it.
They're saturating it and they're gatekeepers. But I want everybody to at least try it.
Yeah.
If you want to try it, try it.
Yep.
But don't do it to be popular, because you'll be sorely.
Or to top it, other people. It should be because you're passionate about it.
It should be because music is a gift from God that you feel like you need to share.
Yeah. So how's there? You're one of the people. So I actually had, I think, probably 2 people, and I was speak to my pastor about it. But a lot of us, probably you and your faith as well know, we call it planting the seed.
Mm-hmm.
So I feel like a long time ago, you were one of the people that planted the seed, before I started following my faith. And I know you've been following your faith for.
Well, yeah. We used to talk about that at work quite a bit, huh?
Yep, quite a bit.
I remember
You used to tell me, and I was just like, a lot of people are stuck in their ways. So what would you, seeing today, because I'm sure it was shocking to you, and I'm like inviting you to a church and stuff. And before that,
I was shocked by that, because you didn't used to be a believer.
No, I wasn't a believer and stuff. And like, this is just an example of like, not giving up, don't give up on your music. But like, if if you're following your faith and you're on your walk with Christ, and you're spreading the gospel, this is an example not to quit.
Yeah.
Because just because it didn't happen for you at that moment, and you're like, I planted the seed, Lord, why isn't he coming to church or anything?
Yeah.
You don't know what he's got planned.
But it's also not always going to be, you aren't going to be the one to always reap that seed either.
Yeah.
Somebody else might reap that seed for you. And that's
Yep.
fine because it's to glorify God, not to make you feel,
Exactly.
you did some work. And I'm proud. I mean, it's going to be proud in a healthy way, but we're all just here trying to get to pass out life preservers.
Right. There you go. That's awesome.
Hey, put it on, man.
That's awesome you said that, because when I interviewed the pastor, he gave this whole story about that he had heard, because the statistics say that like people only stay in church, in a specific church, for like the longest is 3 years on average, before they leave and either go to another church or whatever it be. But his explanation was that he had heard to treat it as though Christians are on a river,
Mhm.
and when they stop at a church and stay there for 3 years, it's just like kind of like a rest stop.
Yeah, they
You know
fed
what I
from
mean?
that trough and they need
Yeah.
to go feed from this one to learn something different.
And then, like you said, they're life preservers.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? On that river.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's pretty awesome. But how's your faith walk been lately?
My faith walk has always been strong. During COVID, the churches shut down,
Yeah.
and I don't want to get too political, but I thought the churches did a mistake by shutting down when people needed them the most.
Yeah. Yeah.
And my church did that. And I have to admit, I was a little burned by it.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm mature enough of a Christian to know that the church doesn't define my faith, God does.
Right.
But when people are committing suicide at home because they lost their job, all these businesses shut down, the church closes their door. That's the opposite of what churches are supposed to do.
It's a community.
I mean, the churches were open during the Black Plague.
Yeah.
In Europe, that killed half the country. So
That's wild. When you can look back at that stuff and see what it is today. Yeah. It's definitely changed. I mean,
but it also strengthened a lot of people's faith.
Yeah.
It strengthened, people broke away, started new churches, and
yeah.
that's how God works anyway. He uses all kinds of avenues, and the church is not a building; it's a person.
Right.
It's a believer, a group of believers. You can have church anywhere.
Oh yeah. Yeah. It's just church is a place to get fed and also fellowship,
Fellowship, yeah.
and be with the community,
I mean, I did miss the fellowship a lot during COVID because everything was shut down. It was all online. And you're like, this is cool for a little bit, but
yeah,
I want to be in there stomping my feet and clapping my hands and
exactly.
and seeing that one dude and seeing this lady. I remember, hey,
Yeah.
that's, as people, we need that.
Right.
We need the human connection, and I think music has a lot to do with that.
Oh yeah.
It helps to, music is the language that everyone understands.
Right.
And you can be a 75-year-old man and a 6-year-old girl both listening to Led Zeppelin.
Yep.
And it just...
It does something.
Yeah.
It does. Music surrounds us. It's literally in just about everything.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, I mean, especially worship music is important. I know it's very important because it sets the tone. And that was one of the things he said too. It's just like with worship music, especially right before the sermon, it allows you to kind of like open up to the sermon before.
Yeah. There's also a huge opportunity for Christian artists right now.
Yeah. Oh.
Before I was a Christian, the Christian bands from the 80s and 90s were really good.
Yeah.
They were authentic.
We just didn't know.
they were rough. I'm like, man, how come I haven't heard these guys before?
Yeah.
And then it became like some talking about y'all started sounding the same.
Yeah.
And there's a huge a huge opportunity right now for people to do faith-based or positive messages and
Right.
worship music and hip hop, R&B, rock, all these genres. It's wide open.
Yep. Because everything, especially around COVID time, everything went a certain direction,
Yeah.
and then it's just kind of stayed there.
This is a chance for rebirth, and shows like this
Yeah.
allow art, allow for that.
And that's what I want to see more of. I want to see more people communicating with each other,
Yeah.
helping each other out, and that's one of my main things. I'm like, okay. Before I even started this, I was like, why am I even doing this? And I even kept asking God, I'm like, I'm not sure. I'd be on my way to work and I'm like having full blown conversations. I'm not answering myself,
Yeah.
but that'd be a problem. But, I'm having full blown conversations and I was like, why? Why? But, and the thing that kept popping in my head was be the guy that you needed.
Yeah.
Be the guy you needed.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of artists out there need help. There's review shows. So I've actually, my fiance put me on a review show at one point to play my music. They review it and say what they think.
Yeah.
And there's a bunch of fans in the chat listening to it.
You stink, or you're good.
Yeah. Throwing fire emojis and all that stuff. And you just see on there, the review shows are fine. But a lot of times they're not even people that are musically inclined that are reviewing you. You know what I mean? And they're crushing careers, potential careers. They're crushing a lot of them because some people are just starting out and they're like, I'm not sure. They're still on that little brink where they're nervous.
Yeah.
And just one wrong thing could potentially, turn it around.
Yeah.
Versus someone musically inclined listening to it and saying, listen, you got something.
Yeah.
You just need to fix this and this. And I'm telling you, you got something going. This isn't it, but keep trying.
Yeah. Keep pushing that direction. And that message that you're saying right now is what should be on review shows. Like,
yes,
hey.
but that's not what's going on. So having been on a review show, and seeing all the stuff that was going on, I'm like, man, this isn't right. So I'm like, there's a lot of artists out there that they need advice. They need community.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
They need community.
Network.
Yeah.
Most of the people who become successful in any area, but music especially, is because they know a bunch of people.
Yep.
And don't be afraid to ask for help.
Yeah.
I'm not afraid to call anybody and be like, hey, can I borrow that keyboard?
Right.
Oh, no? Okay, cool, man. About $50. I'll borrow $50. Okay. I mean, don't be afraid to ask for help because all I can do is just say no.
That's important.
Yeah.
And then during those reviews, it's competitive. So like you'll have other artists that are in the chat and they're like, oh, no, play my song. Forget that person. Their songs. So I want to see, what I would like to see is more people working together and not competing that way.
Don't be a gatekeeper.
Could you imagine? I'm trying to remember in the 90s, I can't remember the song, but there was a song that came out a long, long time ago. And there was this video, kind of like MTV. It was called The Box.
Okay.
That they used to come on at late at night. And there was a song that came out where there was a ton of different artists singing this one song, and I can't remember the name of it.
It's Jason's Lyric.
Maybe that's it.
It's the main song from that movie. And they must have 25, 30 guys singing.
But just think about it.
Yeah.
What are we missing out on by everyone trying to top the next person or crush the next person?
Well, when you're tripping somebody, you're not gaining in the race.
No.
you're not gaining space. You're slowing down to trip that person when you should just be going along with them.
Yeah. And the crazy part is that there's sometimes I know there's been like in the rap scene, there's been situations where like a rapper will step on another rapper, and that rapper that did the stepping wanted to do music with another artist. They didn't know that the person they were stepping on had ties to that one. So just completely crushed their whole
Yeah.
dream.
You
Right there,
You
like-
ruined your own name by thinking you were going to be cool.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So stuff like that goes on, you know?
That happens a lot.
So it's just like you're killing your own chances in that moment.
Yeah, there have been a number of artists or bands that we play with, and sometimes they're not cool people. And the guys in my band are like, oh, what's wrong with those guys? And that gets around fast.
Yeah, yeah. But we're
Or,
better
hey,
than you, so
why is that sound guy being such a jerk?
Yeah.
And that gets around. So polite, cordial, and always supportive. We used to play. We did a show with a band named Fourth Point.
yeah,
One of our first shows in Aledo. It's like a kids camp, and I thought they were awesome. So we stayed for their set and
Yeah.
got in the crowd and listened, and we became friends like that.
okay.
And they did the same for us. And
I remember at Emerge, there was the green room in the back.
oh
And
yeah,
Nehemiah Heckler, Fourth Point, everybody was back in there. So it's a bunch of different artists.
Mhm.
And you guys, somebody was beatboxing. I remember Nehemiah was just flowing through the whole thing. And there was a bunch of stuff going on there. I'm like, that stuff like that sticks to me because I'm like,
Yeah.
just imagine if a bunch of artists got together, no competition.
there are 8 billion people on the planet. Most of them don't do music.
Yeah.
So there's room
Yeah.
for artists to go instead of one guy going here. You know.
Yeah.
There's room.
But a lot of them treat it as if there isn't.
That's
You know,
upbringing.
I
or-
gotta be top dog.
or
I gotta get
insecurity.
there.
Instead of doing top dog, just be the best at what you do.
Yeah.
Beat on your craft, get good, get better, and it's a never-ending. Guys that go to the gym or work out their whole life.
Right.
So a lot of people think that they'll just get one hit song, they'll be popular and famous, and then some of them do, and then they crash and burn because
And there's a lot of bad advice out there too.
Mhm.
There's guys that are getting advice from the wrong places. Like somebody will tell them, just keep trying because once you get that one song, that's going to be it. That's your moment. And it's just like you could do a one-hit wonder, and then that's the
yeah.
end of it.
You should have a catalog. I've got 30 some songs recorded. I got 1,000 that are written.
Yeah.
Every artist does. And being a one-hit wonder isn't terrible, but in the 80s, you had 100 million people listening to it, so that band could play off that song for their whole career.
Yeah.
Now, one-hit wonders are like boom, 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 boom. They drop and go so fast.
Because the next person got a
Yeah.
good hit.
So work on your craft, get good at what you do, and keep writing.
Yeah.
Write bad songs so you can get better at writing good songs. Just don't record the bad ones because that costs money. But sometimes you'll have an idea, like, yeah, that sounds great, and then you record it, you're like, it sounds terrible. What was I thinking?
I've been there. I've been there.
Like, we went and recorded guitar in the studio one day. I was like, yeah, this is going to be awesome.
Yeah.
Spent $500 recording guitar. The whole day was a wash. Nothing got done. All the guitar parts came through bad. Everyone was grumpy. We had producers fighting each other. Like, dude. So I learned a lot of lessons that day.
Yeah.
But, yeah. Anyway.
I think the most valuable thing over money, over anything that you're going to pay for doing music is time.
Yeah.
You can always get money back.
Yeah.
You can't get time back.
Yeah.
So if you're not putting time towards it,
Yeah, you have to woodshed your
you're not
music.
really investing.
Yeah.
So I could see that. But yeah, that was pretty much all
Cool.
I had for you.
Cool.
I appreciate you coming on.
Thanks for
Thank
having
you
me.
everybody for watching. Yeah, we'll do this again maybe at a future date.
Yeah, definitely.
Stay